Hello. Now, this is a video talking about Splatoon voice chat, or why Splatoon is so very important to the video game landscape. I've done tons of videos. I did the hashtag I got splatted and all that type of stuff. But this video is actually something coming from an article written by Luke McKinney, who is a writer on Cracked.com. This article is actually me reading some of the reasons why Splatoon is so very important to the video game industry as it is right now, comparatively speaking, from Luke McKinney. The reason I'm reading his viewpoint is because it happens to coincide with my own. So without further ado, after the cut, we'll get into what this article means, what this article says, I should say, and how it applies to gaming after that section. So let's get into it. After the cut. Okay then, so let me bring up. Now, properly, this article is called 6 Ways Nintendo Will Save Us from Awful Shooter Games. But they officially call it the 6 Problems with Third-Person Shooters That Just Got Solved. In parentheses. That just got solved in parentheses. So, let's start. I was raised in the woods by first-person shooters, and those woods were just a blocky texture on invisible walls. I evolved from a mammal, mouse, driving, doomed dinosaur keyboard aimers to extinction. I've selected the greatest guns in gaming history, another article that he wrote. I played Blood back when the blinking counted as attempted suicide. I've been shooting for so long, I remember when Duke Nukem was a good game. The I remember in Duke and was a good game is in italics. And with all the years of my shooting people's faces clean off on every platform imaginable, I can tell you that not only is the Wii U Splatoon a great game, it's a literal savior. So, he has 6 reasons. Let's get into the first one. Number 6, it's saving us from assholes. He says the exact moment I brought Splatoon. Luke McKinney on Twitter, he says he read reviews of Splatoon. One flaw is that this multiplayer shooter has no voice chat. He said, and he goes, immediately buy Splatoon. Here's what he says. The default multiplayer voice chat is the swollen appendix of shooters. It might once have served a function, but now it's a useless bag of pus threatening to kill everyone. Professional teams use third-party programs. People playing with friends use private parties. The only ones making noise on the default channels are A. People using the microphone to help them swallow deep-fried oysters. B. Neglected children so desperate for attention they take social tips from to catch a predator. Or C. Those same children after 30 years of confusing kill count for achievement. Multiplayer voice chat should be off by default. That way you can turn it on if you want. The same way you can read YouTube comments if you want. A complete inability to speak still won't stop some people from being assholes, but Splatoon's fast matches and rapid rotation of teammates means you're never stuck with an idiot for long. Hallelujah. Let's move on to number 5. The major shooter series are locked in a graphical Cold War, spending ever more ridiculous amounts of money and time on almost imperceptible improvements to the things that are killing their entire industry. It's Xeno's turtle falling into a shallow grave, iterating ever closer to a final destination filled with dirt and rocks. That's why most major releases look like someone blended gravel into shit to make the world's worst McFlurry. I'll leave a link in the description so you can see the pictures and their subsequent numbers that the pictures correspond to. These graphical improvements don't just come at the expense of gameplay. They actively prevent it. Games are released beautifully broken, dashing themselves on exquisitely textured rocks while realistic fluid dynamics cascade sea spray across their E3 trailers. Then they wedge their main character halfway into those rocks and ragdoll it at 10,000 RPM. The obscene expense of making virtual worlds look boringly real also requires them to keep you on a single path. They're spending so much money to turn games into movies that they're hiring banner actors to make you think it's a good thing. But there's no point in rendering realistic fluid dynamics and accurate explosion physics when that leaves fewer gameplay elements on the screen than a level of Pac-Man. At least he got to chase after multiple dots. Multiple is in italics. Splatoon uses fluid physics as a gameplay mechanic, making it more of a truly technical advance than every Gear of Duty field put together. Every other shooter's processing advances provide cinematics instead of strategy. Jetting blood announcing, yeah, you got him, just like you did in the first Modern Warfare, but now there's more dirt on his clothes. That was, the yeah, you got him was in italics. Or not italics, quotations. Splatoon's fluid mechanical gameplay simply wouldn't have been possible on earlier systems. Splatoon squads are assigned random colors every match, so you're not just stuck with red or blue. For a lifelong shooter, finally seeing some bright colors feels like someone served my retinas cone cells a gallon of daiquiris after decades in the dirt-filled deserts. And it means a kids' game solved the known balance issue of red's advantage over blue, while generations of professional competitive shooters simply never bothered. Number 4, it's saving us from boredom. Most realistic shooters start like an NRA conga line. The world's most heavily armed ducklings clash from the spawn point to the first objective middle of the map. The game uses this combat commute as an active mechanic. Getting killed means having to trudge back from the spawn point all over again. It's tactical, but it means building the game's balance on boring repetition instead of actively playing. Some games let you build teleporters, but that's still basing so much of your playtime on an annoying chore that someone needs to take on to let other people skip it. Splatoon squads don't win by splatting their opponents. They win by painting more of the map, or key points of it in ranked matches. Paint takes ink, and your character can transform into a squid to swim quickly through that ink to reload, recharge, or hide. That means every step is important instead of just the last few near enemies. In this game, area control isn't just a tactical term, but a fundamental force of the universe. There's never a wasted step. Every movement is an active decision and natural gameplay. You're constantly calculating curves to cover the maximum area without painting yourself into a time-wasting corners. Painting vertical surfaces does not give you points, but it lets you reach the higher ground. A wide selection of different inking patterns, ranges, and rates of fire all feed into both the combat and coverage to create a wide range of playstyles. You can charge and recharge as an area-drenching roller, juggernaut, charge, shoot, swim to dolphin leap your way across the map, or ink brush all over all the little gaps before springing from a painted wall to sword slash enemies into puddles like a primary colored samurai. And at any time you can tap a teammate on the map to teleport to their location and get on with the game. After 10 million identical death matches, more predictable than storing your gun vault in your cloning lab, we have a new idea. Don't get me wrong, Clone Shooter 4, Modern 3, Black Ops 2, Help Us Anyone still looks like a lot of fun, but now it's not the only kind of fun. Number 3, the curse of it's saving us from solo Twitch campers. The curse of campers has afflicted shooters since they started. Obviously, being able to aim a gun is kind of important, but most shooters over-specialize until the only relevant skill is aiming at X234, Y 754, 0.4 milliseconds faster than everyone else, which is like organizing an Olympics where every athlete in every sport also has to be a professional javelin thrower. Every other skill is crippled because everyone's going to live or die on that one specific point. If you can't 180-degree no-scope them first, the game is about as much fun as that. Being repeatedly shot in the head. Even for those who can compete, and this is in parentheses, I enjoy headshots as much as the next person, and usually more than the crater skulled one who just tried to sniper duel me. That was in parentheses. New games should offer more than new sniper purchase. Sequel franchises like Call of Duty just don't suffer from this. They cater to it, arming the elite or hacking, in parentheses, high-score solo players with everything from helicopter gunship support to massive ordnance air blast that can wipe out an enemy team. They exterminate scores of players whose only entertainment is hoping to one day do the same. Splatoon's shorter range area of effect weapons means its aim is still an important skill, but it's not the only one. Much more emphasis is placed on teamwork and location. The gamepad lets players instantly see where to go without having to talk about it. If someone's wedged themselves into an unassailable perch, leave them to it and paint the rest of the map. There's nothing sweeter than beating an obsessive sniper by coloring in. Splatoon has created a combat mechanic where camping doesn't work. Once more casually solving a problem every other shooter has struggled with since day one. Number 2, it's saving us from pointless death. All the best shooters have multiple ways to score. Battlefield 3 rewards teamwork, spotting, and resupply with additional points, and Team Fortress 2's medics are the closest first-person shooters have come to actual saints. But there's still support classes for the killers. The only strategy is attack, even when capturing a control point or returning a flag. You're usually better off going death or glory than ever running away. Maybe you'll bring one of them with you, balancing the score, and it's often faster to resurrect than to run away and resupply, meaning most shooters use the same strategy as the game's fringe terrorist enemies. But in Splatoon, splatting someone just sends them back to their spawn. Its only effect on the score is how it affects your ability to paint, and it's always better to stay alive and cover more ground. You're not just here to kill, you're here to do a job. Fighting is sometimes necessary to achieve that end, but it's not the end in itself. Running away will work and give you a more successful life. This isn't just a video game, it's the first moral lesson for kids that it's actually fun. Finally, the last reason, and he puts it as the penultimate, number 1, it's saving the industry itself. AAA video game releases are a bubble big enough to blow out the sun. The headline-grabbing midnight launches of all the latest and iteratist shooters are aimed squarely at the Halo frat demographic that made billion-dollar games possible. But that aggressive niche is so noxious that games now have ratings to keep them from playing with children. That's why so many developers claim it's impossible to render a female model in games that already have dozens of models. They're not scared of the challenge, they're scared of what their own fan base will screenshot. In Splatoon, your first choice is whether you want to play as a boy or girl. The second is skin color. That's exactly as hard as it should ever be. The fact that every game doesn't offer this is terrifying. Unless racial purity is a part of your game's narrative, in which case, what the hell? The idea that the narrative games like Gears of War couldn't tolerate a change of protagonist is laughable. That game would work the same if you glued a gun and a speak and spell to a fridge carried by a forklift. It's also inclusive across the age gap. For a long time, I almost lived in Team Fortress 2, one of the most fun and friendly shooters, and I still can't share it with my friends' family because my favorite thing is setting fire to spies and hitting them with an axe wrapped in barbed wire. Splatoon lets parents play with their kids. It's introducing the next generation of online shooters. Mario introduced almost an entire generation of video games. Now Nintendo is widening the market again. It's the perfect shooter for a post-gamer world because everyone games now. The people who clutch to their chests as an entire identity are seen as the same. The people who clutch games to their chests as an entire identity are seen as the same way as people who wait around train stations to take down the locomotive numbers. They can be a bit creepy, but it's okay as long as they're not attacking anyone. And we're not going to change our destination to suit their tastes. Okay then, I will leave the link for this article in the description. You can read it for yourself, read some of his other articles. You can agree or disagree, but in regards to Splatoon, this guy hit the nail on the head. And I'll give you my thoughts after the cut. Okay then, that was kind of a long article, and I tried to get through it with very little editorials from me. What do I have to say about that article? That guy hit the nail on the head. Nail on the head. Number 6, which was, if I remember correctly, number 6 was it's saving us from assholes. Frankly speaking, that was very important. You know, I have been playing online games. I'm 29. I'll be 30 next year in February. I've been playing online games for 20 years at this point. I got my first PC when I was 9, and I was playing like the original Unreal and Doom and all that type of stuff. And then when I was a little bit older than that, I got my first gaming PC and started playing online shooters. I have played my share of online shooters with voice chat in the beginning, and frankly speaking, it's boring to me. When I saw Splatoon didn't have voice chat, I wasn't like, ooh, let's get a mob together and burn Frankenstein monster. I was like, ooh, I don't have to listen to assholes over the internet. Now, Now, in our community, we have quite a few people who say that voice chat is absolutely necessary for this game. I can tell you right now, some of these people I have actually been in podcasts with, and if I had to listen to them, you know, I've had to listen to them on a podcast for longer than 30 minutes, and in some cases, some of them, I wanted to smash my eardrum in with an ice pick. So clearly, the fact that if I play with them, I don't have to hear them talking while I'm playing in a game where you need concentration and situational awareness, I'm actually quite glad that it doesn't have voice chat, but that's my own personal feelings. All the rest of these, the other 5 of the 6 points that Luke McKinney makes in this article are dead on. People who say they disagree are fine and dandy to disagree, but I would say that you're wrong, and that this is precisely why this game is so damned important to the video game industry right now. And tell me what you guys think in the comments section below. Don't forget that Saturday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there will be BS Busters After Dark, which I will leave a link to above my head, where you'll be able to leave questions when it begins. So, yeah, look forward to that. And with that, I bid you adieu.